Hey, Kara, it's so great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me on the second episode of Indies Inside.
You're so welcome. I'm super excited to have a chat with you today. Thank you so much for having me, Marcy.
Yes, it's so good to see your face because it has been a while now since we got to see each other
I
in
know.
person.
I'm used to seeing you at markets,
I
you
know.
and Crosby. But it has been nice to talk to you every week about doing fun things like this and staying
Yes.
engaged. So,
Yes, it's
yeah.
very important to keep in contact with everybody. But since we may have people here listening who have not had the opportunity to interact with you at the markets, maybe they're not even in the San Diego area, I would love for you to just introduce yourself and how you came into Mist and Sea and creating these beautiful air plant crystal creations.
Yes. So I started Mist and Sea about a year, a little less than a year and a half ago now. And it came from a real love of nature and how magically beautiful it is just to be outside. Something we all really, I think, are appreciating more right now since a lot of us don't have that opportunity with being inside because of COVID. But at the time, I was working inside of an office all day, really detached from nature. And it's always been such a personal place of kind of peace and joy, kind of appreciating how beautiful and being in the natural world of nature. So I decided to start a business to gain more autonomy over my career and thought of things that I love. So naturally, it was nature. And I've also been interested in art for pretty much my entire life since I was a kid. So I kind of created this amalgam of art and nature through air plants and crystals. And I create air plant and crystal holders, which, if you visit my website, missandsea.com, you can kind of see my creations, a lot of air plant hangers, and everything's made by hand in my home studio. So, my vision for Mist and Sea is to bring people that peace and joy from nature that I feel. And they're such magical little plants. Just in case you haven't seen one before, this one is called a tectorum, and they have really fuzzy leaves in this particular species and roots. So they're just so cool since they don't need any soil. I thought it'd be a really fun plant to play around with. And yeah,
Cool. Yes, I myself have many of them along with Crosby, and we've done workshops with you too, where we built our own terrarium, which we still have displayed proudly, and they're doing very well. Everybody,
yay! I'm so happy. I know
yeah.
you guys are the best. I love having you at workshops.
Your workshops though are really fun, and I hopefully we'll return to those again sometime soon. But they're really fun to just kind of get your creative juices flowing and playing with nature. And like you mentioned, it is even more valuable now to have these things inside with us while we're not, able to go outside as much. And they're a lovely little reminder of nature. I think I'm sure you are surrounding yourself with them.
They've kind of taken over everything in my room, the backyard, my time. There, it's really such a joy to watch them grow, to propagate them. It's been so much fun. And I might be doing an online virtual airplane bouquet workshop soon,
Lovely.
once I get my materials in. So definitely still in the keeping the ball rolling.
Yes, and there's so many different things you can do with it, which I love because we did the workshop with you too. That was the ornament for Christmas time.
Yeah.
Created that, and I know you did bouquets
Yes,
for
I
folks, especially
did.
at the
Yeah.
beginning of this. I remember you were out
Yeah.
trying to deliver those as fast as you
Yes.
could.
Yeah, made a few drives around San Diego County. It was like a full day of driving around, but it was so amazing to deliver them, and it was all very zero contact, of course,
Mm,
but it was just so much fun to do something new and creative. It's almost like when crises strikes or when some really stressful thing happens, it's almost a spark to do something else, right? We're in this totally new environment. So finding out other ways to reach people. And I was so loving how many people were purchasing my air plants as gifts to friends,
Yeah.
since they're all gift wrapped and they come with a card.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, I got like kind of watery eyed writing some of these cards because it was to grandparents or, friends who lived in the same area, but they couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
So I'm getting goosebumps just talking about
Yeah.
it, but I love facilitating the process of connecting people, even though we can't physically be with each other. Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
getting tingles talking about it. That's how much I like doing it. So,
Oh, it is. It's one of the beautiful things that is coming out of this time. And I actually talked about Cassie, that with Cassie, on the last interview, and she was saying how important it is now to, go to those indie creators and small businesses and get something for your mom, send something to your mom, send something to your grandma. Like, this
yeah,
is the time to take those little items that can bring people joy, and you can't be there physically, but this can bring them joy. And you're
yeah,
supporting an indie business at the same time.
so true.
Yes. So I am curious to know, with this time inside, how has this all been, both for you as an individual, but then for you as a business owner? I'm sure there are, different circumstances there, but how has this time been so far?
Yeah, I appreciate the personal question too, because it's so intertwined with business, right? And our
Totally.
our creative process. To be totally honest, I've been personally doing really well. Um, I like being home. I'm a homebody. So I've really enjoyed almost kind of being a little bit more cooped up because it's helping me to focus more on, new ideas for expanding my business. It almost makes it easier because I don't have I make less decisions on where to go throughout the day. Um, so I just feel in that sense a little less stressed. Um, but of course, there is the aspect of, it is really hard to hear what's going on in the news. And I have close family and friends who are actually having a lot of anxiety because they've lost their job or are getting furloughed. So I think most of the stress that I've personally encountered at this time has been from, hearing other people's stories. And it is an absolute tragedy what's going on health wise with some people and how they're being affected financially and most importantly health. That would be very difficult. But apart from that, going into to business, like I said, I've really loved having time to, like, for example, I talked about this with you. I started filming myself while I was creating my air plant displays. um, I've started reaching out to people more on, social media. So in that sense, it's kind of been a little bit of a spark to a new avenue of reaching people. And I've started, I guess, business wise, kind of, this one isn't finished, but um, creating kind of new, that there's going to be a little air plant. I don't have any little ones around me, but it'll go kind of in here. And then I'll be putting a lava rock and wire. So it'll be hanging from the top. So it'll be a little hanging air plant holder.
Oh, cool.
With a lava rock, you can actually put some incense and, or not incense, essential oil in there. So it'll smell good. So just kind of
Oh,
messing around, having fun with new ideas and ways of creating. So yeah, business wise, it's been good in that more creative aspect. And then as far as, selling to people goes, um, I haven't had a huge, I've had maybe a slight increase in my online sales actually, which I know is really ironic because you would think people, why is anyone buying right now? Oh, aren't they afraid, financially? But I do think, and my heart really sincerely goes out to people who are having a financial hardship at this time. But I feel like a lot of people are still in, positive and stable positions. And if they're in the if they have the means to support other people right now. I think that's such a beautiful thing, and they are supporting me. So, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point that before, and I am so guilty of this too. I, would kind of look at my schedule and see all the different markets to go to because I was always wanted to go out and shop the indie markets and meet new creators, people that I could feature, go visit new businesses. And so I was always kind of like, go, go, go. What's happening this weekend? Here's my calendar. Here's the things I want to do. And I'm sure as someone who sells at them, it's the same thing. And so now, in a way, you're kind of like alleviating that pressure to be all the places at once
Yes,
and you can just
exactly.
focus.
That is such a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved seeing
Yeah,
you at the markets, but it's also great to
I
have
know. And some of I think most of my main supporters right now are people I've met at markets.
oh yeah.
So that personal connection is so important. And I think I mean, markets are hard. You're there, you have your 60-pound, 10 by 10 canopy tent, you're setting up your big long table, all of your items you have to put out. It's a lot of work. But I think now I'm appreciating them a little bit more because I don't get to see my market friends. I miss you. I miss you guys. So, um, Marcy, should we tell people just like a real quick synopsis of how we met?
Oh yes, I think that's
Our
a good
story.
idea. Yes, totally.
You tell it.
So it's all Instagram. Like that is where it's at, I feel like. But I think I was posting about indie bookstores, right?
Yes.
That's how you first found me. I
Uh-huh.
was using that hashtag and everything, and I love indie bookstores, so I always take an opportunity to post about them. And so then you saw that, and you were like, "Oh, this is cool." I said, "Oh, I'm here at San Diego Bade." I randomly had a table just to try and like promote Andyland and get people to read the blog and all that good stuff. And then you messaged me and you're like, "So I'm here. I have a video." I'm just like, "What?"
You want to come say hi?
Yeah,
Yeah. I was so excited because it was my first in-person Instagram meet.
yeah, mine too,
So,
actually. So that
yeah.
was my first time.
Yeah, and I saw your blog slash Instagram, was just so obsessed with it because I'm such a book nerd and of course love independence, and
Yes.
you seem so lovely, so I was so excited. So anyways, I just
Yeah.
thought people would think I think it's cute. So
Yeah, no, I thought it was really cool because that is the first time I'd actually met someone through Instagram and now it's
yeah.
happening a little more often and I feel more comfortable. I think because of our interaction, reaching out to people on Instagram and making those relationships because I hadn't really seen it quite in that way. I saw it as a way to get introduced to brands,
Hmm.
but not actually individuals. And so it was really
Right.
cool, like, oh, this brand that I'm following, Mist and Sea, she's right upstairs. So I just like went up there and loved the stuff. I knew I
Yeah.
would because I saw the pictures, but
Thank you. I know it was so lovely to to meet you there. So yeah.
yeah. So Instagram, yeah, is hugely important. I think even more so now. And this is a discussion I've had at my day job, and I have with other indie brands and small businesses. But as a result of all the stuff going on, you've likely had to shift some plans a little bit, especially when it comes to social media and
Hmm.
email marketing. Like, a lot of people are even posting and saying, "Gosh, I had like this whole week of stuff planned out to post for you guys, but none of it's relevant anymore." So now I'm retooling and figuring out what do I need to do to serve my audience the best right now. So have you
Yeah.
been going through that process and
Oh
adjusting,
my
trying to figure
gosh.
out what do I offer right now? And
Yes. Oh, it's been such a powerful time of transition and flexibility. So before the whole thing, the crisis, I was actually walking in person to brick and mortar stores. I literally had a bag of my air plants and my handmade creations, and I'm like, of course, I said it a little bit more smooth. I would hope, but I was like, so I make this. Do you like this? Because I think they look amazing in your store. You need this in your store. So I was essentially looking for wholesale clients. So in all honesty, I tell them about a little about me and my vision for my business, which is to reconnect people to nature in a world where it's a lot of us are very disconnected and also very unhappy staring at screens too long.
Mhm.
So that was my strategy, selling wholesale to brick and mortar stores that I loved. But understandably, people were saying this was at the very start of the crisis. All of a sudden, they were closing their doors, or they were having no one walk in the store because of the this was even pre-quarantine. People were just afraid to go into stores, and I think they were starting to get the idea that the government wanted us to stay inside, and it was important for health. So I literally went into, okay, so that's not a thing anymore. What the heck am I going to do now? And it really was like, to be honest, I was not really worried because there's such an abundance of opportunities out there for me to sell to people, and so many people who love crystals and plants. It's just a matter of getting my business and my vision and my products into people's eyes, because I see that people at markets, and people really love nature. They love what I make. So I thought, okay, what are some other ways I can do this? And I actually have a business coach. So I discussed different strategies with her. But one of the ideas I had was, okay, online virtual workshop. I freaking love making air plant bouquets. They're so beautiful. They're so much fun. Oh, sorry, I mixed two things there. The first thing was, guys, I took a nature walk in my neighborhood and found some beautiful eucalyptus leaves. And I was like, this would be so beautiful in a bouquet. So just for myself, I started messing around with air plants, created one, showed it on Instagram, and then said, guys, look at how pretty this is there anyone you want to send this to? And people started buying. And then it went to a virtual bouquet workshop where I'd have the different items like lavender, different types of flowers, peonies, different air plants, for them to kind of create their own bouquet. So I'd ship out the materials to them, and they get to choose what's in there. And some of the things would have more medicinal properties like chamomile or lavender. So that was super fun. But yeah, and now that I'm inside with a little more time, since you mentioned we're not driving around anymore, I'm just here, reaching out to people on social media. And I'm doing a raffle this month in April for anyone who's bought a Mist and Sea air plant design. If they tag one of my items on Instagram and show it in their Instagram, then they'll be entered into a raffle to win a really beautiful selenite crystal and air plant. So kind of brainstorming ways to, reach out to people through social media, I think is the big thing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm, like I said, there's been an increase in sales for me. And the hardest thing is just been not getting to see people that I connect to. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I've really liked your Instagram posts the last few weeks, really. Like you've done some deeper ones that are more reflective of this time and just reflective of different things in general, that I feel like it makes me feel more connected to you. It's not just, hi, here's a sale, and hi,
Yeah.
which, might
Yeah.
have been something a lot of people did before this. But
Yeah.
I like that you share a lot about yourself too. And I'm sure that's a hard thing to do.
It is. It's very vulnerable. And that's so nice of you to notice and acknowledge that. Yeah, it's definitely been, I think when we're indoors, I've always been an extraordinarily self reflective person. I was a psychology major. I'm all into studying myself and knowing what the heck is going on in here. Um, so it's been a lot of kind of honing in on my own emotions right now, um, and sharing that with others has always been so important to me. It's essentially, the root of my business is not only connecting to people through nature, but helping them to understand themselves better. I include these little cards that have kind of mindful sayings on them about love, um, about kind of shining through darkness, things like that. That I'm also a writer, um, so yeah, these various avenues of myself have definitely been clearly coming out on Instagram and in my work. Yeah.
It's lovely though, and I'm sure that we talked a little bit about this, but maybe we'll go a little more in depth. It's going to have an impact on your creative process as you take in all these things, especially when you're someone who is sensitive and aware of the changes and how you're feeling inside. So, how has your creative process changed, if at all, during this time?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like I've been so busy with I've been so busy with social media outreach, and I'm currently reaching out to I've partnered with a couple of yoga instructors in the community and working on reaching out to more people to help me showcase my product to their audience. Um, I've been so busy with, my own orders and then doing more outreach in that way and expansion. And then having just a second to myself to like watch a show on Netflix that I haven't, there hasn't been a huge change in my creative process deep down, but I do think the way that I am revealing that to the world has changed. Um, so filming what I want to welcome people into my world of creating a little more. So I know, Marcy, it was actually your suggestion to film myself creating something. I'm doing air plant care videos, since that is like a huge part of my my weekly routine. I have maybe a couple hundred plants in the backyard. I have like a lot of plants. I have one a really pretty one
Wow.
here, and they're just kind of everywhere. So, I'm sharing air plant care videos with people. So, um, yeah, so I think the direct process for me hasn't changed too much. It's just the way I'm sharing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's funny you say that because I do also feel like I think I've been busier than ever now
Right?
that I'm inside.
Right?
And
I
it's a
know.
strange thing because there is this, everyone's like, okay, well, now's the time to slow down and go inward. And in a way, it is. But
Yeah.
going inward has also led me to do a bunch of other things.
Right? I know. I'm like perpetually, I hate to use the word busy because I don't mean it in a negative way, but perpetually like scheduled to do things that are good. But it's a really good point that you make there with, I feel like being inside, we are giving ourselves more things to do because we're thinking more.
Yeah.
So it's ironic.
Have you had to like set a schedule for yourself to kind of keep order to your day? I know a lot of people have talked about that, and I've tried to. I mean, I have a standard 9 to 5 job, so that sort of helps. Like from this time to this time, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But then the other time is sort of nebulous.
Right, right.
So do you have like a process right now, or are you just kind of going with the flow?
Yeah, it was actually great timing. Again, suggested to me by my business coach was to essentially book out my entire week at the beginning of the week. And that's still what I'm doing. And I am thankful for it because I'm the type where I can sit and watch Netflix all day, if you know what I mean. I love a good sci-fi movie or three. So it's been extraordinarily helpful to keep that list going. I'm not perfect. It's not uncommon for me to not complete every single thing. I'm very human about it, but yeah, yeah, I keep a very kind of set schedule every day, or at the very least, a list of all of the things that I'd like to accomplish.
That's definitely helpful. It's probably something I need to do more of, if
I
I'm being
I just
honest.
started. I just started, and I'm not perfect at it. But yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah, it can be hard with the, you just, looking around like, okay, so what's next? So if you have something that's more set, and you can move towards goals. And it's helpful,
Yeah.
especially when your goals have probably had to change quite a bit. I mean, I know we had just started 2020, right? And all these people, I think I saw like a meme or something online where everybody joked like, "Hey, remember all those great plans we had for 2020?" Like everything's thrown up in the air now. So I'm sure if you've had to shift a little bit too. And do you think that this has pivoted as well where your business is headed as far as, the next year? And is that something you're happy about or something that you're kind of disappointed about?
Okay, so first answer is there's definitely been a strong pivot, and the second is happy about. When I had first started, so I'm born and raised in San Diego. So in starting my business, my whole goal was autonomy, not only with my schedule, but getting to move and live wherever I wanted to, whether that be Nebraska or Hawaii or New York. Probably not New York, but Colorado. I'm thinking of like nature places.
Right.
So it's interesting because I was going into brick and mortar stores because it's so much easier and fulfilling to make those person to person connections. I feel like reaching out to people on a personal level so they know me as a maker and a female business owner, that I really care about my product and I'm reliable. They can see my face. That's why, it was very, I was amenable to going and meeting people here in San Diego that own businesses that could sell my products. With that said, that wasn't my big plan for my business. I would be happy creating new designs. So, in maybe a few years from now or a year, we'll see how things progress. I would be happy creating the designs, training other people to create them, and having help, shipping them out, doing those types of tasks. So I'm, business owner, making sure, customers are happy, and then designing the products that I would hire people to make. So I really wanted that to be more of an online thing. So I'd have the autonomy to move where I wanted to. So in that sense, it's been a really great thing in reminding me, oh yeah, I did want to do have this be more online sales focused. It
Interesting.
just is more, and as a 31-year-old woman, I am thinking about things like I want to have kids soon. So I really like the idea of not having to go sit up at craft fairs for a few days a week and that kind of thing. So working more from home. I don't know. Like I said, I like doing things from home. I like writing from home. So I'm super happy to have like more of an online base and then reaching out through, Instagram and whatnot. So,
That's
yeah.
really cool. It's like it was an opportunity to push you in a direction that you'd forgotten a little bit
Yeah.
that that's where you wanted to go, which is
Yeah.
interesting. I think we're all kind of being reminded of what our real goals are and our values during this time when everything else kind of just has to fall away. So it's really
Yeah.
interesting to see how people handle this time, which makes me wonder how do you hope that whether it's small businesses or just individuals, how do you hope people handle this time? What do you hope people get out of it?
Yeah. I feel like we're all kind of getting to know ourselves right now. Um, I think so. I'll say from my background, there was a time in my life where I probably this quarantine period would have been extraordinarily emotionally hard on me because I was forced to more or less be alone and not talk to people and not have all of those constant distractions of work and whatnot. Um, so, my hope is that people become more familiar with themselves. I feel like we all have this side of us that's on the outside, and then who we are kind of deep, deep, deep down. who we are when we're just laying there, not having to do anything, which is kind of what we're forced to be doing. A lot of us are doing right now. Um, I feel like, we to get a little deeper, we come into this world alone, and we also to an extent die alone. So being able to know ourselves and our desires, what we want our life to be, it's done by that mindfulness and self-reflection. So that's something that I would hope people can take away, is just reconnecting with, who they are.
Yes,
I'm such a sap. Sorry.
no, I love it. And I have to say, I think that you are a great example of somebody who's done that inner work and looked inside and you took this leap where you said, oh, I love these air plants and what I'm creating, and I'm going to create this new world for myself. And you just took off and you did it. And I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I was not I'm very fortunate. Like, I don't want to downplay. Yes, it was a lot of self-reflection and really big risk taking, because I left a very stable health insurance job to be able to do this. And it was it was very scary.
Absolutely.
We're not in the beginning anymore. It can get a little raw, right? um, I don't remember where I was going with that, but yes, I'm very fortunate to have to not go homeless and be able to still do things that I love doing. And, I feel like a new person. I was so very depressed going to that job. So I'm just a very different, happier person for it. Yeah.
And you've brought these beautiful pieces into the world that are, one could argue, are needed even more so right now to remind us of the outdoors and bring the outdoors inside.
Thank you.
And I wonder too, as you talk about working with other indie businesses now, using this time to reach out to them, how do you think that indie businesses and indie creators can really help and serve each other right now? What are ways that we can show the love?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've actually been thinking about doing a promo of, like, some of my, I don't want to say favorite because I love so many, but, indie business owners that I know or I've had seen or had their products. I've done markets with them and trust what they do, of promoting them on my own page, sharing them with my audience. So, but yeah, I mean, that would be one huge thing as a business that I could do. And of course, for the public, make sure to, what we do, we're doing, like, this is literally our way of supporting ourselves. Um, so remembering that, you could go buy a present from Target. I think Target's still open, right?
For groceries, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't quote me on
So
that, but I
you
think
could,
so.
I know, I feel like I drove by when it was open, but yeah, you can go buy a gift at Target for a birthday. Or my cousin just, you know, texted me this morning saying that her boyfriend's sisters really want plants for their birthday. So I'm shipping them plants.
I love it.
And that's directly supporting me as an artist. We all, it's a little tricky this time even to get support from the government being self-employed. There's a lot of ambiguity right now. So just remember your local independent business. And my audience, my friends, my customers have been super awesome. And thank you guys if you're watching.
Yes, thank you to everyone that is stepping up to show their support. And there are probably many other creators out there right now where, we mentioned this time is very stressful, and maybe they haven't been having as smooth of a time right now and are very worried. So do you have any words of wisdom or advice for those folks who are feeling just a little bit lost right now as to what to do creatively and with their business?
Yes. I would try to start from a mindset of abundance. It's so, and I completely understand being afraid and anxious. Maybe you're not doing markets anymore. I am not judging you one bit. It is so natural to go to like, oh my gosh, things are scarce. What am I going to do? There's so many opportunities to for finances and customers to come your way. So sit down, maybe brainstorm some ways. Even you can even Google other ways to reach people right now. We're so fortunate to have Instagram. If you don't have a Facebook, maybe set that one up. This might be a good time to like create a rudimentary website. I have an Etsy page. So other ways for people to see and buy your products. Like I said, I'm reaching out to other influencers right now who have huge followings. You don't need a store or a market to sell things, an in-person market to sell things. So maybe start selling online. I'm sure your stuff is amazing if you've done markets because you're there because people are buying them. So I would highly suggest you just kind of visualize being in this mindset, or at least setting the intention of being in a mindset of abundance, because things will come your way if you are.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I wonder a little bit too if there has been a surge, now that I'm thinking about it, in Etsy pages going up in the in the past few weeks, because I've heard of people who've
Yeah.
just been talking to me like, "Oh, you know what? I've been creating this thing, and it's not even their business, it's just something they're doing." They're like, "I've been creating this stuff, and while I've been, stuck inside, I just decided to create an Etsy page."
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll have as I said this to Cassie too, a surge in creators and creatives at this time.
I totally think we will.
Yeah.
I've already seen it in my friend group. Very talented people all of a sudden selling because they have the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's cool. We want more creators. We want more people doing the things that light them up. And if this time allows them to do that, then that's great.
Yeah.
Um, I hope they keep doing it.
I know. Even if they, who knows, maybe this will be a time when if their business does really well. Because I mean, I see it as a lot of people are staying at home and are on their screens. And when
Totally.
you're on your screens, you might come across a product you really like. I mean, Etsy's online, Amazon, all that stuff. So Instagram, people are on, I think, all the time now. I need to like take myself away from it. I'll be honest. I've been on it way too much. I need a timeout for Instagram.
I have the same problem. If I'm being honest, I'm on Instagram a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm not even posting that much because I'm kind of in this spot where I'm like, I'm not quite sure what to post right now because I'm
Yeah.
always posting about any businesses, and this is my way of building up stuff I can
Right.
post. But
Yeah.
I find myself just scrolling,
Yeah.
scrolling.
It's so I can lose an hour on there. I'm like, wait, my schedule, where did it go?
I'm like, oh, look at this new brand. I'll follow them. I'll follow them. Okay.
I know. And somehow I always find myself back to plant memes or plant photos. I'm just like, it's so bad. So bad.
I like to try and excuse it, to myself, like, oh, I'm finding new indie creators that I could possibly feature, so I'm just gonna just keep doing that.
I love it. You have a natural, like, giving personality. I love that that's where you go. I'm just like plants. You're like, how can I help and feature people right now? Yeah.
Hey, plants are part of your work. It's
Yeah,
inspiration. It's
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 true.
it's fueling you to create, right?
Yes, yes. Let's go with that.
Do you follow a lot of crystal stuff too? Because that's part of the creation process for you, or is it more so the plants?
Not more. I am such a plant. I'm a science nerd. I actually, when I worked in a research lab in psychology, and I got my first air plant as a gift for Christmas in the lab, and it just sat at my desk every day. I did kill it
Oh,
after a few weeks because I didn't know what I was doing. It's like, where's the soil? Um, but no, but yeah, I'm definitely more in it for the crystals are beautiful mediums. I love the crystals and I love incorporating it into the meaning behind what I create. But I'm definitely a very much a nature girl at heart. And the crystals are nature too. They come from the earth. So yeah,
It's true. All of it is natural and beautiful. And I think
yeah,
they really do marry together quite well. I know we've had discussions about that before, but it just, when you see them together, I'm just like, they are like a perfect pairing, I feel like.
yeah. I know something about putting like these naturally, they're just so magical. I mean, I have like some moss agate here. They're just, I don't know how well it's coming out, but it's just such a beautiful stone. And like with the rose quartz is always a popular one. Just these colors, it's amazing to think, metals and chemicals and nature created these in the earth. So it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's so
But
cool. So, one important question I want to make sure that we get to in this conversation is, how can people support you right now? What could we do to show the love and just show some appreciation?
yes, thank you so much for asking. So, if you'd like to see my products or check out what I create or just get to know me a little more and my story, very deep personal things, as Marcy had mentioned earlier, because I'm opening up right now. Definitely, I'm pretty active on my Instagram, which is at Mistandsea, Mistandsea. So definitely follow me on there. And my website, mistandsea.com, is something you can visit. I do ship across the United States, and I include gift wrapping and a gift note with every single thing I give out. So whether if you want a word of encouragement to yourself, that's a beautiful thing. No one's done that yet. People should. I love you. Love me.
Yes, show some
Or
self love right now.
right, self-love. Give yourself a rose cord. Um, or, of course, the more popular thing to do is send people a note to, a loved one or a friend that you can't see right now. Definitely check out my website. Yeah, those would be two awesome ways. And I'd love to, if you want to connect to me personally, I'd love to hear from you too. So I'm always open to chatting with new people.
Awesome. And this is funny. I guess I've never actually asked you this, but as we were talking, I realized I want to know the story behind that. But so, how did you come to the name Mist and Sea?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Gotta rewind here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I have a secret. The first name of my business is Plant Love. Um, just supposed to be plants like plant love and to plant love, right?
Oh,
Um, And I was honestly, it was pretty 50-50 going back and forth between mist and sea. Um, at the time when I first started selling, I did a lot of sand products and I still, seashells I still do have. And I think I might have just sold out of one of my seashells, but I still have them in the shop. Being from the ocean, I mean, I spent all of my time as a kid, going to the La Jolla tide pools, all like so many days during the summer. It was just being from San Diego. The sea, it was Israeli life here. So I thought of things, different words that kind of elicited this emotion of like kind of freshness and nature. And mist is something like you might see at the ocean. I just think of like standing by the water and taking a breath in and feeling that ocean mist cover you. And you also mist your air plants. So I was like, okay, mist. And then sea, of course, after the ocean. So that's where the name originated from. Why I picked that over plant love, I think I actually don't remember. It was probably just maybe it sounded a little more elegant, if I'm being honest. But I went with that.
even just hearing you describe that right now, it's just like it makes me miss that feeling, being able to go and
Yeah,
oh, that yeah, the mist and sea. So it's
yeah,
really pretty.
Thank
And I love all
you.
of your photos because they do tie in so well. You have lovely photos of you with the air plants by the water. It's really cool.
Yes, yes, I love the ocean. It's my happy place. I feel very fortunate to have it.
Yeah. And the air plants, like we said, it's good to have them as a reminder during these times. I know I'm going to be looking to mine. I have some over here and I have some downstairs.
I know you have yours from it was the terrarium and the bouquet.
Mm. And then you gave me the little one with the amethyst, which is so cute.
That's right. Yay.
It's on my
Yeah.
little ledge over here by my sunlight. So
Oh, I'm happy that you keep them so close to you. That's
yeah, we
awesome.
have the other ones downstairs, like planted right on the. Actually, it's below our TV, which is kind of funny. But since we're always sitting there, like at night, when we like come and have our cozy time, like our air plants are right there too.
Aw, it's like the whole little families together. How's how is Crosby's googly
I
eye?
know that one's holding up pretty well, and it's getting bigger. Like
Are you
yeah, it
serious?
looks to
Oh
me it looks
my
bigger. And then
gosh,
especially the
that's
one
so
he had
funny.
in the little because we had the small terrariums. I feel like it's like growing like it looks like a little like octopus that one. I forget which one that's called, but like it almost looks like an octopus the way like the arms are going out. It's crazy.
Oh, interesting.
It's
I
almost
know,
like
I'm
too
trying to
big already.
remember. That's crazy. You'll have to send me a picture of your octopus
Yeah.
air plant.
Yeah, he looks like so funky. It's funny because he had one that was bigger and then it just I swear it got bigger over time and it's in the tiny little so it's like arms are going outside. It's funny.
I love it.
And I have like the little fuzzy one in there. I love my little fuzzy.
Yeah, this guy, I'm so
Yeah,
glad he was okay in there. That's awesome.
yeah.
It makes
They're
me
all
so
doing well.
happy when people are good at keeping them alive.
I have to
Some
admit
people are worried.
it's Crosby who has taken the charge and the lead because he's had them
Wow.
before successfully. I killed
Oh.
one of my first ones, which was like years ago, but it was probably like 2 years ago. But he has been good at it, so I was like, okay, well maybe you get to be in charge of it for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, go
He has an alarm
Crosby.
that reminds him on Mondays to go like soak
Yes.
and like spritz them, and I bought this new
Oh,
little
that's
mixer. I'm so excited
hilarious.
to encourage myself to like get into it.
Oh, oh my gosh. You guys are the best. I love it. Oh, I love how he has a plant. He's a plant dad. You guys are like parents. That's so funny.
He's got the alarm set, and it's so funny because we sometimes talk on Mondays, and he did walk in once while I was talking to you, and he was like, "Look, at my alarm's going off for the air plants. You're talking to her right now."
Well, you didn't say anything. I
I
would have thought
know.
that was so funny.
It was like we were talking, and I was like, "Oh, I'll mention something about that," that I like forgot, but
Oh, yeah. Oh my
but it was funny that
goodness.
he did that. He's like, "Oh, you're talking to her when I have my like reminder go off."
You're like, that's great, honey. Bye. Oh, that's so sweet, though. I love it.
Yeah, we love our plants. And Crosby's sister has one too for when she came to the workshop with us. So
That's right.
yeah,
Awesome. I know. I feel like you guys are plant nerds at heart, just like me, because I love watching them grow. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
oh, that reminded me that I totally forgot to tell you this, but Crosby's mom, who I gave her the big one you had in the driftwood, right?
Yeah. Was
That
it
one
the
was
one
beautiful.
was it in cork bark?
Oh, was it cork bark? I think it
I don't
was.
know.
It was
Was
it
it
was
more
like
like a
this big.
tube?
Yes,
Okay.
it was like a
Yeah,
tube.
yeah.
And then it
Cork bark. Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, and it
Yes.
apparently grew a flower, she said. It just
Oh,
planted a flower.
yay! The flowers. Yes. Wow. Okay. Your family's got the magic touch.
Mhm.
That's really
I think it's Crosby and his side of the family that has like the magic touch to plants because I maybe watched.
Ah, you need some training.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's awesome though. I'm so happy it bloomed for her.
Yeah. So there are so many, yeah, beautiful things that could come from having these in your house. I personally love it. So I hope if anybody out there is even considering like having an air plant or bringing more things inside right now, I think that's the perfect plant, and it will bring you joy to watch it like Grow and expand.
blooms to
Yeah.
grow.
Oh, speaking of joy, so what I like to close on with all the guests is I would love to know what is bringing you joy right now in this time inside.
Hmm. What is bringing me joy? That's a lovely question. Um, I'm getting to work on the things that I love. This isn't related directly to Mist and Sea, but I'm getting to write my book. I'm writing a science fiction novel that is about plants. So I really love getting to do the things that I love inside right now, um, like writing. I think that would be a huge thing. And I'm also really loving following my vision during this difficult time for many people, and it's connecting people who can't be together. Usually it's from someone, from California connecting to someone in Florida or something, two very far away places. But more commonly now, it's people that are in the same city who just want to like share a little air hug with each other. So I think those two things come to mind as what's really giving me a lot of joy. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love, yeah, the writing. That's really cool that it has air plants.
I know. So it has poisonous and carnivorous plants, no air plants.
But it's still
It's
plants.
like it's still plants. It's still plants. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And I love that you're using this time to get in those things that I know you've been talking about and excited about, and hopefully we'll both continue to do that. I'm trying to.
What's bringing you joy? Can I ask
Ooh,
you?
yeah. Oh gosh. That I'm actually being able to like get to do kind of like you the things that I've been meaning to do for a while,
Yeah.
and this is one of them. This was supposed to be a podcast that I was going to record at San Diego Made, and hopefully someday I'm still going to do that. But this time inside kind of forced me because I realized what was happening, and I kind of felt at a loss as to what to do to help indie businesses right now. And obviously posting about me being at markets and things like that isn't really a thing at the moment. So how am I still going to add that value and show my support? Because I'm inspired by you guys all the time. You're doing amazing things, you're doing what you love, and you're showing the world that you can do what you love, make a living, and in turn bring more light to the world with what you create. So I just was so struggling thinking, okay, well, now my podcast might not happen. I'm not doing as many posts and then feeling bad about that. And then I thought, well, this is what Zoom is for, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people who are using this now for work and all those things, and people do use it for podcasts. And I thought, why be such a perfectionist and say it has to be recorded in a studio with people in the same
Yeah.
space? It doesn't.
Yeah.
The important part is getting the stories out there and talking and exchanging ideas and showing our support. So this made me actually put this thing on the darn calendar and do it.
Yes. I
And
love it.
that's what makes me happiest, I think, with this time is that I am finally following through on my commitments somehow, despite
Hmm.
being stuck inside. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's funny how we're like creating time for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and doing so much with it. As tempting as it is for me to watch movies all day, we are not. We only do that after 6.
That's me too. That's us too. It's pretty much at night
Yeah.
when we do that, and it's
Yeah.
worked out really well. And though I'm sure as a writer you're also a reader, so I'm like, okay, I need to make in more time for reading again too because I feel
Yes.
like it's a good time for that.
Oh my gosh. I have probably 4 books that I've been trying to read. So I
Yeah,
need to be doing that too.
yeah.
So, but Marcy, I wanted to say, I mean, you have such a and I genuinely mean this, like such a big heart for reaching out to small businesses like my own. I mean, you've been so supportive from the start ever since I met you. And just, that your inclination was to ask yourself what I can do for independent businesses right now. I mean, it just shows so much of what you have to offer to people. And I think it's such a beautiful place of service. And I can see that you genuinely enjoy doing it too. Like, we have so much fun just connecting with each other. And when you asked me, like, what can I do to, like, what does your business need right now? I'm just like, wow, it blows my mind. So thank you so much for like opening your time and your energy and your encouragement and your heart up to me and Miss Dinsey. So it means so much.
Thank you so much for that. That is very sweet of you to say. And I'm glad that, people can see I really geek out over this stuff. Like, I really think it's super fun. I can't even really exactly explain why, because I've tried and
Yeah.
I've journaled on it even because I try to think about like, okay, is Indieland a business? Like, what is this? I don't know.
What
And it
am I
all
doing?
comes
I'm just
back.
doing what I like. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just comes back to that. I'm doing what I'm interested in and what I like. And I'm a former journalist. And so there's that part in me that just wants to share the stories. And I think you guys have the best stories.
Oh my gosh, you're awesome. And I want to do this with you someday. So when you are ready for this interview, because you are also an independent business, right? So I would,
In my heart of hearts.
yeah, right? So I'm definitely doing this with you soon. But it's going to be me in the question seat. I get to ask all the questions.
Ooh, we're going to turn it on the person who's always doing the
Yeah.
interviewing. This will be weird for me.
Like, change the spotlight.
Yeah. I hope I'm gonna also say that I'm throwing that into the universe, that I hope that happens someday, and we're exchanging ideas on a different level, I guess.
Mhm.
One indie business owner to another.
Yep, definitely.
So, is there anything that we didn't cover in this interview that you want to express or talk about at this time?
Oh gosh, just how, I mean, I love my customers so much. It's just so touching to me to see people like you and other people who just care so much about small businesses. It's just, I mean, unbelievably beautiful to me, and it really touches my heart. So thank you guys so much, all of you people who care about this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, I also want to say thank you to everybody who is doing their part out there to support, whether it's just liking or commenting on posts and writing reviews and purchasing things that can be shipped to them. Thanks everybody for showing that love, and we hope you will continue to do so. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the second episode. I am really glad that we were able to connect and do this on video and see each other.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It was so much fun. Hopefully I wasn't too awkward, but this
No.
was so fun. Thank you, Marcy. I can't wait to see it and share it with everyone.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.